Hey guys, so I just got off the phone with Miguel going over some of the details of this scenario. And you guys saw some of the videos that I did, or the video that I did yesterday about the FHA thing. So the bottom line is this: if you have a credit score of a certain number, um, it puts us a little bit of at a gamble where you may or may not need points to pay a fee to keep that same rate, which is at 3.5. So I did some notes as I was talking to him and scribbling around, and he made some recommendations. So excuse me, we know that these sellers, they bought their house last year at $309,000. We would expect that over the period of the year that they been paying mortgage payments, that what they owe on the property is less than that. So if they paid, it should be way less than that. If they paid 309, not that I want to make this super complicated. If they paid 309, they had to come in with some kind of money. So they put in 10,000, 15,000. Again, not that I want to, rake them over the coals and totally destroy them, but just so that we have kind of an understanding of what their position is, and to formulate what our position should or might be. If they paid 309 for the house, they came down with, ten, $15,000, whether or not it was, a 3.5% FHA type thing, or something else. Their mortgage should be less than that. So, and that doesn't mean that because their mortgage is, say, for example, 250 or 270 or 280, that they're going to be willing to accept 270 or 280 because that's all they owe. That would be basically a short sale. They want to sell it for whatever the market demands, not what's just what they owe on the mortgage. So we have to try to be mindful, cognizant of that fact. What they will accept is at the end of the day, from us or from anybody else, what they're going to shoot for. They're going to try to get as much money as they possibly can. So some of the notes here, and again, we don't need to go with any of these numbers. This is kind of just stuff that I was throwing down as I was thinking here. The list price is 325. All right, we know that they bought it for 309 and all that. Miguel had suggested that a if we put in a 319,000 offer at 3.5%, comes out to 11,165 for the deposit. 3.5% of that number is that number. So that puts us at 308. We can go up a little bit north of that to get that to the 309, 310. And again, the difference between 1,000, 2,000 spread over 30 years, you're talking less, much less than, should be less than a cup of coffee. So we're not talking huge numbers between 319, 320, 322, something like that. So a lot of my concern is with this here, because of the credit score where we are today and where they want to be, where they give you that interest rate without any other fees, has changed over the last month. So this is where my hesitation is, because I want to make sure that you guys understand that we're going to shoot for this and hope for no points. But by the time that Miguel gets to the point where he's locking in the rate and talking to a lender, a bank, an investor, the guy that's, or the person, the company that is giving us the money to do this work, that's when they make the decision on what's going on in the market at that time, and whether or not we have to pay this 1 or 2 points to be able to keep this 3.5%. All right, so Miguel had suggested that we try to go for a 7,000 closing costs, and we were going back and forth between 11,000, 7,000, 11,000. Obviously, the more we ask from the seller, the worse the offer is. If they have to pay 11 instead of the 7, that's a worse offer. If they have to pay 20 instead of the 7, obviously that is worse for the seller. So we try to ask for what we need to be able to make the deal happen, without scaring the seller and saying, or try to be the best offer out there. If somebody comes in and says, I can do it with 5,000 and we're asking for 7, the 5,000 is better for them. They might take their offer over ours, depending on what the type of loan is and what the offer price is. So Miguel had, when we had kind of discussed, so he kind of thought maybe a $7,000 closing costs credit from the seller. Try that, and then prepare ourselves. I'm not sure if you guys have the ability, if you have any friends, family, anything that would potentially be able to gift you that money, if and when you needed it. So that's a thought. We're going to try without, but if you need it, is there somebody that can give you one of those two sums of number? Right now, we should probably just be focusing on that number, which is the worst case. Anything under it is a good thing. If you don't have somebody that could potentially give you any one of these two amounts, then that's where we might want to consider boosting that 7,000 to 11,000, just so that it gives us a little bit more money. So there's two things with buying a house, and that is the down deposit. So that's the 3.5%. You're paying down the overall purchase price to what the mortgage amount is. That's the down deposit. And then on top of the down deposit is the closing costs. Closing costs are things like you're paying the lawyer for certain things, you're paying for the lender for certain things. You're paying them to do the work that they're doing. So that's what that money is for, and that is what that money's for. This is your money. This comes off the top, and that's what the mortgage is. This is fees to pay people to do work. So hopefully that doesn't confuse you too much, what I just said. The sticking point for me right now is this. I don't want this to be a surprise for you guys. So if we try for this scenario, and they say at that time, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month from, not a month from now, but with the time that, they're locking down the rates, which is after the purchase and sales. If they say, the economy got worse, lending got tighter, whatever the case might be, we might need this, that you guys are prepared for that. And what sucks with this, and I'll just say it that way, I hate not being able to know 100% from the start what we're doing. And this might stuff causes me a little bit of, and it causes Miguel headaches, heartburn, because we like to put you guys in a position where, boom, A, B, C, D, period. That's just the way it is. That's, as much as we can, that should be what we should be looking at. And we're not in a scenario where it's just a simple, straightforward A, B, C, D. It's an A, B, C, D, but maybe E also. So I'm going to send this video to you guys. Hopefully that explains a little bit. That'll help us kind of formulate what we're looking at. I'm doing these numbers for a reason, because I'm trying to shoot for the 308, 9, 10 range. I'm thinking if they get what they paid for, especially being in a divorce situation, they may just kind of wash their hands from it, and that would be the lowest amount that they'd be willing to take, and the lowest amount that we could possibly get you guys into the house for. If they can just wash their hands from it and go away and kind of just recoup the money that they put into it, that might be acceptable to them. So we're talking 319, 320 minus the 3.5% that you guys put down, puts us in that 308, 309 range. Ask for the $7,000, $7,000 closing costs. Now I'm thinking about this. That's money that you put down. 308 is going to be the mortgage, but let me do this. 319, and this is just for us to talk about. This is going to be the net to them, which is 312, right? So This is the net. That's the gross. If we offer 319, we ask for $7,000 back from them for closing costs, prepaids, which is like insurance and things like that. Then the net to them is 312. So this would definitely should have a decent chance of success. We can adjust that 319 to get that down to the 310 level, for example, which would be just $2,000 less than that, and see how that works. Let me know what you think, and then we'll go from there. I'm gonna get this on YouTube, get it over to you guys so you guys can look at it. Again, I'm hoping that I'm not confusing you guys more than hurting more than helping. But we're trying to pinpoint what to offer, what to ask back, what the net might be. Will that net be successful? Will it be something that they'll want to accept? What the overall scenario is. That a possibility? If it is, that gives us a plan B with these things if and when that does happen. Last thing I want is for you guys to have an X amount of money in the bank that can go for this, and then we ask for this and this, and you go, well, I don't have that. Now what do we do? We want to avoid that, because now we're just kind of tying up money, tying up time for things that will potentially cause us heartburn later on. But Matt, you had said that depending on when we close, you might be able to put some extra cash together as a contingency, as extra money just in case. So if that's a possibility, that's something to think about. That's something to think about if it's a possibility. And pretty soon, in the next half hour or so, I'm going to kind of put together just kind of what do you guys think about this plan? And after this, looking at this video, we can make some adjustments and up or down, and go from there. So, all right, I am in the office Sunday. It's right around lunchtime. I'm probably going to grab some lunch and then come back to this. I'd like to put something in paper today so that I can get it out to you guys for you guys to sign, get it over to the listing agent. I'm not sure if the listing agent has gotten back to me yet, but I did ask him if he had any offers on the table. Kind of gives us an idea of urgency. How fast do we need to get this done? All right, thanks. Bye.